Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. How is everybody doing? I know everybody is enjoying the intro music. I hope everybody's loving the intro music and everybody's enjoying it all over the world. The entire world is watching right now. Donald Trump himself is watching this live stream, and I bet he is enjoying the music. He's dancing to it in the Trump dance.
It's the best music.
He's doing a tremendous job. So, yeah. I was just playing a prank on David. I do this thing sometimes before we go live where I act as if I'm saying something important, and then I
That's super
randomly,
funny.
in the middle of it, I start playing the intro music.
Yeah, it's super funny.
It's like the funniest thing in the world. Anyway, hello everybody and welcome. How is everybody doing? Marion Crocodile. David, what's up, man? How you doing?
It's good, man. It's good. It was funny, man. So funny, I forgot to laugh.
Well, that's what happens. That's the definition of funny. So, how are things going, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty base.
I didn't ask you. We agreed the other day that if somebody asks how you're doing, you're not supposed to answer because nobody actually cares. Now you broke your
No, I
own
forgot
rule.
about that. Yeah, the thing was, I wasn't really listening the other day because I didn't care enough.
But you were the one who said that.
Yeah, I still didn't care even when I was saying it. So I don't know why I remember stuff.
All right, that makes complete sense. So we have Turkish Isa and Mike Winner here. That's exactly right. Super duper cool, awesome, around the world.
All around the world, same song. But all around the world.
The boys are back in town. Yeah.
Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
We don't talk about boys on this channel. There are people watching that might be enticed by that kind of stuff.
Did you say boys?
In our culture over there, we know what we do with boys.
Did you know? You want us to tell you?
No, I don't.
Nope.
So, there are lots of things going on, man. I was kind of curious about what we should talk about. There's this, what's this guy? It's named Joe Keller. Well, Joe Keller. Who's the guy who just Joe Kent? Yeah. The guy who is the former director of the United States National Counterterrorism Center.
Oh, that guy's a dork.
Who just resigned. Was going to talk about that because it's very, very hilarious, man. Like the guy himself, he just resigned and published a letter in which he says that this war is not our war, that Israel dragged us into this war and all that, and Iran is no imminent threat to us. And it just so turns out that the very same guy just a few months ago went on podcasts and did say Iran is an imminent threat and we need to take action right now.
Hey, that's funny because when you brought him up and I said that dude's a total dork, I had no clue who you were talking about.
Oh.
But yeah, now he sounds like a total dork too.
Yeah. No, this is literally the guy. So he resigned and started exposing his hypocrisy and teaming up with the regular average, guys on that same camp. In fact, you know what? Let's just briefly talk about this.
Let's just talk about it, man. We can talk about whatever we want, man. It's your show.
Let's just talk about it, man. Let's just talk about it. So here we have this guy. So here is Joe Kent. After much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. The funny thing about this is that he was actually kind of already being distanced and removed. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran poses no imminent threat to our nation. And it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. It has been an honor serving under POTUS and Tulsi Gabbard and leading the professionals at NCTC. May God bless America. Then he posted this following letter here. Director of National Intelligence, National Counterterrorism Center. President Trump, after much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran poses no imminent threat to our nation.
You already said that, man, was part of his tweet. What did he just cut and paste that part of his tweet?
Yes, I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. This is such BS. You know what? Trump has said consistently
You saw those, huh?
for decades now.
Since the 1980s.
For decades.
Since the 80s, early 80s.
Go in and take out the Iranian regime. He said it during his last presidency. He said it during his current presidency. He said it before he ran for president. He said it during his presidential campaign leading up to 2016. He said it during his presidential campaign leading up to this one. So anyone who says that Trump did not believe in these things and he suddenly now changed his mind and was pressured by Israel is a lying pile of filth.
Yeah, it's seriously stupid. Like, guys, and everyone notice, that's separate from whether you think the war in Iran is a good idea. You could still think that it's stupid, that we shouldn't intervene unless it's posing an imminent threat. You could believe all of that. What makes no sense is to say Trump decided to go after Iran because Israel made him. It's been over 4 decades. Over 4 decades, he's been saying you got to deal with Iran. You can't just let it go on like this. So anyway, point there is whether you think it's a good idea or bad idea or whatever, Trump's been saying this for a long time.
Early in this administration, high-ranking, in your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. What's the difference? America was literally conducting operations that were significantly more intrusive against ISIS than America is doing right now.
Little side note. If this turns into one of these never-ending wars where they don't actually try to win, they just try to get some equilibrium and then stay there forever, like in Afghanistan, then I would agree. Do it. Either go in there and either go in to win or don't go in at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, look, guys, if this turns into a never-ending war, I'm going to be agreeing with this guy.
The funny thing is also, that there are some people who say, well, Trump said no new wars, so why are we doing this? Trump also said repeatedly that under no circumstances will Iran ever have nuclear weapons, and when we have to do whatever we can to do that. So he tried pressuring them, it didn't work, and now it's going in and bombing their facilities. And this is the one thing where people have a problem with Trump contradicting himself. Dude, Trump also said that if he's elected within 48 hours, he will stop the war in Ukraine. Did he?
He said he would build the greatest, most magnificent wall anyone has ever seen, and that he would make Mexico pay for it.
Did he? So, early on in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sold pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. What misinformation campaign is he talking about exactly? No idea. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States of America. I don't think anybody actually said that. This was a lie, and it's the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war. This is also a lie. I mean, this guy, I don't care what his background is. If you lie to me so blatantly, you're a scumbag. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have gone through. If you do this kind of campaigning for obvious ulterior purposes, you are a scumbag. You're a lying scumbag. America didn't go into a war with Iraq because of Israel. Israel. This is a narrative that started after the Iraq war turned into a little bit of a failure. Then there were people started emerging who blamed this on Israel. Israel didn't push America or didn't even ask America to go into Iraq at the time. America did that because America did that, because America wanted to do that. The only person in Israel who actually did say something about this was Benjamin Netanyahu, who himself was not in charge of Israel at the time. He did come and say that it is almost certain that Saddam Hussein is in the possession of weapons of mass destruction. He did say that here in Congress, but he wasn't in charge of Israel.
No, you had a ton of Israelis saying Iraq's not the problem, Iran's the problem.
Yes.
So if you wreck Iraq, you're just making things easier for Iran. And somehow that's, you see, they were using reverse psychology to make America go after Iraq. They were saying, yeah, don't do it. Don't go after Iraq. We don't want you to. So that they would say, you Jews don't control us, and they'll go and attack Iraq. That was very smart. You see these Jews.
It was primarily American intelligence that came to the conclusion that Saddam Hussein is in possession of weapons of mass destruction, which is why we have to go into Iraq now. And you can't blame them. I mean, I guess you can blame them somehow, somewhat. And maybe there was some, and maybe there is more to it. Maybe there is a little bit of a conspiracy at play here. That is, of course, also a factor. But Saddam himself repeatedly said that he is proudly pursuing weapons of mass destruction, which he also used in the past. But America went in and recognized that there are actually no weapons of mass destruction around. I'm sorry, if the dictator in charge actually says, I am developing weapons of mass destruction, I will take that as reasonable evidence to go in there, whether it's true or not. So, so this is just a pure outright lie. Of all the countries that were for the Iraq war, Israel was not for it. They said, you're making a mistake. You should be going after the real bad guy, which is Iran.
Imagine Iran pulling that, if they'd done the same thing. Like, suppose they were bragging, oh, we have finally developed our nuclear weapon, and no one better mess with us because now we have a nuclear weapon. And then you go in there and you bomb the crap out of them, and then it turns out they didn't have a nuclear weapon. And everyone's like, oh, why were you so stupid? Why did you lie and say they had a nuclear weapon? They said they had a nuclear weapon, dummy. Anyway.
As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel. Look,
which one?
I feel sorry for you and your wife, but this is just, this is what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Which one was his wife? Was his wife killed in Iraq?
It's easy to appeal to emotions and all that, and then say something horribly stupid and just outright wrong and dishonest. And this is what he's doing here. I mean, thank you for your service, and sorry about your wife and everything, but this is just such a lie. I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die. Blah, 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 blah. Now, you know what's funny? Here's the very same guy.
I mean, it's already, they're still registering for the draft, aren't they? Like that's the logical conclusion to the direction that we're heading in right now, unless we make some serious changes.
I mean, I've already heard rumors that Fifth Group is going to be sending guys to Iraq because of the escalated situation with Iran now.
Yeah. I mean, most Americans aren't aware of it. Our troops in Iraq and Syria have been attacked 150 plus times by Iranian proxies. And when we say Iranian proxies, we got to be clear on what that is. That's the Iraqi government that we pay. Because after the Iraqi military, we spent $2 trillion on, surrendered to ISIS, we had to go back in there in very short order and stand the military back up again. And guess who filled the breach? The Shia militias controlled by Iran did. And the Iraqi government's controlled by Iran. So these
Iran is ruled by the Shia radicals who are attacking and killing Americans. That's what he said before all of this happened. He also posted. I thought I'd reposted that. I thought I'd retweeted that. He also posted before that we have to go into Iran. And that, in fact, he urged Donald Trump to do it. Let's see. I thought I reposted there, but apparently I did not.
I looked up his wife.
I know people say that. I didn't look her up yet, but...
Shannon M. Kent. She was smart, was a United States Navy cryptologic technician and member of JSOC's intelligence support activity, who was killed in the 2019 Manbij bombing. I'll scroll down to what that is. On January 16th, 2019, Kent was part of a group that attended a meeting with local military officials and stopped at a local restaurant frequented by U.S. personnel, the Palace of the Princes in Manbij, Syria, when a man wearing a suicide vest walked by outside and detonated his device. The area was in a northern Syria buffer zone between Kurdish fighters and Turkish forces that had been regarded as a stable area. Kent was killed along with 3 other Americans who were in Syria as part of Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve. Kent was the first female combat death in Syria since combat operations began against ISIS in Syria, and the first female U.S. service member killed by enemy fire in more than 3 years. The 2019 Manbij bombing killed a total of 19 people, including Kent, a special forces soldier, 2 U.S. civilian contractors, allied coalition fighters of the Syrian Democratic Forces, and a number of civilians. So it was Israel that convinced the United States to fight ISIS, and that was a mistake. And so they're responsible for his wife's death because Israel made us not like ISIS or something.
Yeah, you know what Israel was doing at the same time while America was fighting.
I'm just saying, because I hear like 50 times a day that Israel actually controls ISIS.
That is the very funny thing, because Israel was at the same time trying to send old guns and ammunition to smaller, explicitly non-Islamic groups in order to have them around the Israeli border and keep ISIS at bay. That's what Israel was doing. Israel was literally arming smaller non-Islamic groups, giving them arms to defend themselves and also defend the border of Israel against ISIS getting closer. But apparently ISIS is Israel's war, and apparently Israel was so involved in this. Here's Joe Kent, the very same guy, 2020. Donald Trump posted this in response to his letter. Donald Trump, we should not sit and wait for the next attack. Wipe Iran's ballistic capability out and get our troops out of Iraq. They are only targets now. No USWIA KIA is a tribute to the professionalism of our military and intel professionals, not Iranian restraint. He was urging Donald Trump to take out Iran's capabilities, military capabilities, and then to take the troops out of Iraq. This was in 2020. He has consistently also repeatedly said that Iran is a great threat. He only recently just said, as shown in the video, that Iran is a threat, that Iran attacks our troops all the time. And I've recently played this and mentioned this. Here you have this guy talking about how they were building nuclear missiles or nuclear weapons.
ما اول که وارد این فعالیت هسته‌ای شدیم واقعا هدفمون ساخت بمب بود دیگه. ما تعارف که نداریم.
یعنی شما میگید هدف ساخت بمب بوده واقعا؟
100%.
هدف کی این بوده؟ یعنی
کل نظام یا همه اونایی که این فعالیت رو شروع کردن واقعا هدف ساخت بمب بود. حالا که شروع کرده بودیم و دیگه می‌خواستیم این کارو، خب بیرون شما اگه میتونستیم اینو حفظش کنیم و بمب آزمایش می‌کردیم، کار تموم شده بود. مثل پاکستان ما که شروع کردیم بعد آخرش.
حالا اینه که شما میگید، میگم چون ما تا حالا رسمی خیلی نشدیم کسی این صحبت رو کنه. اینا که شما میگید تبعاتی نداره، مثلا مذاکرات و اینها به عنوان بالاخره کسی که
ما توجه نداره
با خارجی بالاخره پیدا میکنن.
This is Speaker of the Iranian Parliament who says that they've always had the plan to build nuclear weapons. Anybody who knows who understands a little bit about the nuclear enrichment also knows very well that their intention is to build nuclear weapons. They want to push it to such an extent that for which there is no use at all, except military purposes, for which there is no civilian use at all. That's what they want to do. That's what America is trying to stop. And I kind of wish they explained it a little bit better to the public, but that's literally what America has been trying to stop.
They do a serious crap job explaining things to the public.
Yeah.
Like real terrible.
Also,
on everything.
Also, The whole imminent threat thing. I personally do not care whether Iran poses here an imminent threat or not.
No, I will sit here and grant they did not pose at least a noticeable imminent threat. For me, that there can be other issues. There can be other issues to consider more than do they pose an imminent threat. I mean, you could argue the same thing against about the Germans, and people did World War II. Come on, they're wreaking havoc on France and the UK and stuff like that. But come on, we're over here, man. We're safe.
And they only have the ambitions to eventually cross the sea and also tackle America. But they don't pose an imminent threat.
Not imminent. It's not imminent.
So why should we do anything? I mean, until they attack us, until they get all strong and all that, and develop their strategy and then attack us, they don't pose an imminent threat.
Yeah. So I guess the idea is that you should only react once a country has gotten to the point where they're an imminent threat to your country. That's when you react, not earlier, before they're an imminent threat. But they're obviously trying to become an imminent threat to you, and you're like, okay, well, until you've actually got the nuke and are ready to drop it, we don't have a problem with you.
What happened to the glory days of running an empire? And
what happened to the good old days of whiskey drinking and butt kicking?
Yeah. It's kind of funny that often the very same people who glorify the greatness of your nation in the past and all that are like, we don't want wars, we don't want any kind of conflict, we want to wait until they come to us and subjugate us. That's the smart thing to do. That's better. It's better to do. Look, nobody wants war. I also don't want war. But you have to have significant military action sometimes to prevent war from happening in the future. And in this case, that is such a case. Iran has a constitution that says that that is their ambition to support freedom fighters across the world in order to subvert the capitalist, imperialist forces of the world and to bring them down and to bring about their Mahdi that they are waiting for. It is in their constitution that they work toward the destruction of the entire West and of all so-called capitalist and imperialist nations. It is part of their organizations to employ terrorist organizations and terrorist people in different countries all around the world and to use them against different nations. They have also said for decades now, that their greatest slogan is death to America and death to Israel. But yeah, they're no problem, man. They just want peace and stuff, Stupid. Very, very stupid.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't actually have any solid position. If people want to say, hey, if it's not directly hurting you, let it slide. Okay. Well, you guys didn't win the election, so you don't get to make that call. If someone else says, hey, Iran is obsessed with supporting terrorist groups around the world to keep killing people, it's like, how long do you put up with these guys? Do you just put up with that forever? You just let them keep, killing people and supporting terrorist groups and terrorist attacks all around the world, but hey, they're not an imminent threat to the United States of America. They're just killing people wherever they can. So it's like, does there come a point when you just say, we're not putting up with this forever. We've been putting up with this crap for decades. We're not putting up with it anymore. I'm totally open to that.
There's an interesting new report which is about an ex-Iranian football player coming and saying that America should withhold visas for the loyal Iranian national football team, and it shouldn't be allowed to have any pro-Islamic Iran things anywhere. We'll check that out in a second. However,
they have a football team?
Real football, not
soccer.
Aussie Abe says Netanyahu getting heat for Genghis Khan comments. Did you see that?
Yeah, I'd like to see the context more. It just looked like he was saying, super nice, peaceful Jesus in the world we're operating would not have an advantage over Genghis Khan because Genghis Khan's going on a killing spree. And it sounds like he was saying you have to actually stand up to evil people. And if you don't, then they're just going to come and kill you.
That's not even what he was saying. There's always a context with these things, right?
And he was saying something about someone's book. He was saying it's in a book or something like that.
He was quoting a book. He was citing a book. He wasn't.
Have you found the actual talk?
I believe so.
Because I don't know if I'm interested in addressing or responding, even though like 500 people have all been saying, yeah, David, look at this. Look, he says Genghis Khan will destroy Jesus and there's nothing you can do about it. How can you support this?
I had the clip earlier. There is a.
Anyway, I would like to know actually what he's saying.
Oh, here's the full video. Wait, I got it. I think I got it.
Ain't no full video. If there's a full video, send me the link.
So let's go here. Oh, here's the full video. Let's get to the full video and let's go to his reference to in the transcripts to Jesus.
That's what you should have called this live stream.
What?
Netanyahu says Genghis Khan is stronger than Jesus. Christians lose it.
So here's the original post that started going 10 million views. And now it's like people are like, see, they hate Jesus. Jesus
hey,
is better than them
hey,
all.
Disclose TV. That's one of the channels that's saying this dude's dead.
That's funny. Yeah. He's dead. He's dead.
Also wrote The Lessons of History, very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind.
Did you notice what just happened? Here's the caption of the post. Now, Netanyahu, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan, because if you're strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And if you see the comments, it's like, you see, they're admitting it. They're admitting that they will overcome good with their evil.
See, Bibi says Genghis Khan is better than Jesus Christ, and we will. Is that what is actually happening here?
No, he's sitting there saying, unfortunately. He's basically saying you could be super nice and super good, and if no one stands up to the evil guys, they're taking over, right? Is that what he's saying?
And he's not even in agreement with.
Also wrote The Lessons of
History. Sounds unfortunately.
Very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period in this.
He said Nazi.
You see, he admits.
You see?
Struggle that we are engaged in now doesn't obviate these truths.
So is he now hereby saying that Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan? Because if you're strong, no, he's quoting a book, which makes the point. And here's the full video, actually.
Yeah, where's the full video, man?
Here's the full video. So,
send me the link. I want to order the book and see what the heck he's talking about.
Jesus. So, here's the part where he talks about this. We're building them
in lethality. It's directed. It's targeted lethality. It's going against the killers. and as much as possible to avoid civilian casualties. We have those capacities. We're building them for the future. That is what safeguards the future. You know, if people want to be naive, then they don't see the kind of world we're living in. In this world, it's not enough to be moral. It's not enough to be just. It's not enough to be right. You know, one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, someone that I admire a lot, was the historian Will Durant. Now, he wrote many volumes. I read most of them. He also wrote The Lessons of History, very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now.
There's so much to break down here.
Yep.
And rhetorically, I'm completely or almost or very much in agreement with him, because it's being used in a rhetorical sense. Is he literally saying Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan?
Nope.
No, he's not.
Nope.
Thank you, David.
Pretty bad.
And it's actually very easy to understand that if you just familiarize yourself a little bit with rhetoric and with literature.
Yeah, and you listen to what he's actually saying. Who's not going to agree with him? Saying you could be the most moral and the best and nicer and have better character and be way more virtuous than your enemy. If you don't stand up to him and you just let him do what he wants, all the facts about you being better don't add up to anything, because they're going to come and slaughter you.
So what he is doing here, he's quoting Will Durant, and he's actually using Jesus as extremely good and extremely moral, right? And using Genghis Khan as extremely bad and barbaric, but strong. First, think about that. This is the comparison that he's making here. This is the comparison that he's making. He's using Jesus as absolutely good and Genghis Khan as evil and savagely barbaric. And then he says it is, of course, he refers to good as good, but says also, unfortunately, in the world, it's not enough to just be good, because you have to prepare yourself for the barbarians. And it's not even himself who's saying this. He's just using the words of a writer who says this
to make a point.
He's not literally saying that Jesus has no power or advantage over Genghis Khan. Anybody who actually comes to that conclusion, I'm sorry, you're dumb.
You're stupid, and if you do so deliberately, you're evil, right? Because that's what someone's obviously doing, right?
Yeah.
Chopping it up, and everyone, you see, he's saying Genghis Khan is better than Jesus. Oh my goodness, how can Christians support this?
Genghis. It's Genghis.
I don't care what anyone says. It's Genghis.
Genghis. No, it's Genghis. So
the fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of these
this is like that video that ever so often starts going into circulation and goes viral again, where Ben Shapiro explains what he actually believes about Jesus. And that he thinks that Jesus was obviously, in some kind of trouble with the Roman authorities, for which he was executed as a result of political activities or his speeches or whatever it is. The funny thing is he's not even fully in agreement with the Jewish perspective there. It's just his personal perspective. And people, ever so often, these anti-Semitic people share that video and look, Ben Shapiro says Jesus was a criminal rebel. because he explains that Jesus was killed for problems with the authorities, because he doesn't believe that Jesus is God. Earlier, somebody said, you wouldn't let Muslims get away with this kind of stuff. With what? If a Muslim said to me, it's not good enough to be like Jesus, well, would I think this is absolutely horrible? How could you say that? It would be the most normal thing for a Muslim to say, because the Muslims don't believe that Jesus is the ultimate role model for everything, or that Jesus is, or Muslims don't try to make the point that Jesus is alive and that he's the king of the world, of all. Anything like that. That is not the point at all. It is a rhetorical tool used to make a certain point, contrasting good versus evil, where Jesus is good and Genghis Khan is evil. But you also have to prepare yourself for the violence and the evils of Genghis Khan.
Hey,
don't be retarded.
I looked up the passage.
Well, how does it go?
It's actually a little different here. Let me go and read the paragraph. Does history, so this is a history book, Lessons of History. He says, does history support a belief in God? If by God we mean not the creative vitality of nature, but a supreme being, intelligent and benevolent, answer, what?
Bobby Cannon, you're here trolling and saying, but this is literally what he said. Dude, I know it's literally what he said. You just don't understand what he meant. So he doesn't suck at speaking. You suck at understanding because you are retarded.
Yeah. I mean, anyone with I would expect maybe not a 6-year-old, but a 10-year-old. I think a 10-year-old would have no problem understanding.
And everyone I communicate with, if they heard him speak here, they would understand. Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. Nobody would take this as an insult. The only people who take this as an insult are people who read headlines or who are retarded.
Yeah.
Continue.
All right, ready? So Netanyahu is using the point to basically mean, hey, if you don't stand up to evil people, then all your character and morality don't win, right?
Yeah.
Will Durant is talking about does what we look and see in history, does that support God? But watch, like other departments of biology, history remains at bottom a natural selection of the fittest individuals and groups in a struggle wherein goodness receives no favors, misfortunes abound, and the final test is the ability to survive. Add to the crimes, wars, and cruelties of man the earthquakes, storms, tornadoes, pestilences, tidal waves, and other acts of God that periodically desolate human and animal life, and the total evidence suggests either a blind or an impartial fatality with incidental and apparent haphazard scenes to which we subjectively ascribe order, splendor, beauty, or sublimity. If history supports any theology, this would be a dualism like the Zoroastrian or Manichaean, a good spirit and an evil spirit battling for control of the universe and men's souls. These faiths and Christianity, which is essentially Manichaean, assured their followers that the good spirit would win in the end. But of this consummation, history offers no guarantee. History doesn't tell you that good is going to win. Nature and history do not agree with our conceptions of good and bad. They define good as that which survives and bad as that which goes under. And the universe has no prejudice in favor of Christ as against Genghis Khan.
Dude, when you read the actual thing, it is even better than whatever Netanyahu said. I mean, now knowing the context, this is the funny thing with quoting something, right? You can quote something or paraphrase something in a very basic or simple or poor way, and if somebody knows the actual reference or goes and looks it up, they understand what you mean, and it's actually very, pretty good.
Sounds like good video, right? Bunch of quotes from people posting on X, and oh my goodness, I can't believe what he's saying. And well, here's the original clip that they shared. Here's them reacting. Here's what he actually said. Here's the quotation. So here's what it means in context. and you guys are too, I can't even say too stupid to understand. They don't want to understand. They want to misunderstand anything anyone says at this point.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm sorry for calling you retarded. I don't want to insult you. I don't want to insult anybody for not understanding things. I mean, if that is really the case, unless you are being deliberately obtuse and malicious and all that. But if you feel very jumpy about this and think, no, he insulted Jesus, no, he didn't. I could say the very same thing, and I wouldn't be insulting Jesus. Or maybe I wouldn't say it that way because of my sensitivities, I would choose my words carefully in that sense. But it would just I would be choosing them carefully because I have certain sensitivities about what words I use when it comes to Jesus, for example. So I would probably not use the words an advantage, or Jesus doesn't have an advantage over Genghis Khan. I would say in this world, for example, it is not enough to be Jesus or something like that. When there's Genghis Khan or something like that, Although even with that statement, I wouldn't entirely agree. But you could word it differently if you have personal sensitivities about what words you do and do not want to use when speaking about Jesus. That said, he doesn't necessarily have those sensitivities, and it's also not the point that he's making at all. It's just you have to get the point that he's making. And the point is a very good one, a very solid one. And in fact, if you listen to the words, he's praising Jesus.
He picked an example of someone who's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And then he picked an example of someone who's really, really, really bad. And pointing out the good guy doesn't win just because he's good.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, in a way, the Romans crucified Jesus and so on. So in a way you do, they're talking about politics and history and so on. And what actually tends towards survival of your group.
So he's calling Jesus the good guy. He's using Jesus as synonymous with good here, and using Genghis Khan as synonymous with evil. This is what he's doing here. Instead of saying good and evil, he's saying Jesus and Genghis Khan. I appreciate this. This is funny, man.
Oh my goodness! Benjamin Netanyahu used Jesus as the example of someone who's supremely good. Christians, how can you tolerate this?
You know what's weird? It was the same thing the other day when with the AI stuff and them saying everything is just AI and every video that comes out is just AI. And use that as an example in the live stream when I'm not terribly interested whether someone thinks that he's dead and that this stuff is AI. I don't care what a bunch of people on X really like think on stuff like that. But I do think it's important as an example of what's going on in people's minds, and that now we're getting to a stage where anything you don't want to believe, you can just say it's AI. But it's similar with this in that
the heck? Did you just freeze? Did you just freeze? What happened?
I didn't. No, it just it went out for a second. You got spinning wheel on everything for a couple seconds.
Probably only,
shut down real quick.
Probably only for you.
Why?
I don't know. Did everything happen? Did it freeze? Did all of it just freeze, or only David?
People are saying I froze. D Wood froze.
Huh. Okay, we lost like the last 15 seconds or something that you just said.
Okay. What was I saying?
No idea.
Oh, anyway. So
chat froze too. What was it? Is it a YouTube problem? That's messed up. Anyway,
that sounds like no. My internet's blazing, so I don't know why. It would, yeah, that might have been some sort of glitch. But hey, no, they said I froze, but they're saying some of them froze too. Anyway, not interested. Anyway, what I was saying was there are certain things like this where so people are saying Netanyahu said this, and I'm like, okay, well, it's a bunch of easily manipulated morons who are saying it. How much do I care? But it's like a perfect example of I don't like this person, therefore I'll rip something out of context, and then we'll all attack him based on something he didn't say at all. That is interesting, because I mean, people have been doing that for a long time, but it seems like now you can clip something, put it on there, and have millions of people flip out over it. And then by the time you respond, well, it's kind of too late. Everyone's already flipped out. And most of the people won't care about your response because they're so enraged and stuff. So from that perspective, I don't know. I find this stuff interesting. I do want to comment on that sort of stuff, like trends that are good examples of like how people's thinking is becoming more messed up. I'll probably make a video about this. I just ordered the book. Gets here tomorrow.
Yeah, so his Durant's words are actually, the universe has no prejudice in favor of Christ as against Genghis Khan. That's what he's saying. This is what he's paraphrasing.
And think of like what Netanyahu's saying. As far as like the universe is not going, oh, this guy's really good. Let's make sure this evil ruler never defeats this guy. He's saying it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Look around you. It doesn't work like that.
You ought to be good, but you also ought to be strong and protect yourself from the evil ones. That's what he's saying, basically. Agree with it or not, that's literally what he's saying.
I feel some videos coming on.
Man, what's wrong with people?
And hey, you know what else is weird?
What?
So I just broke it down like I look at this and I see this is the latest, as in today's example of how you can flip out millions of people, and you were saying something that is like totally correct and that Christians should actually like. You had to give an example of a supremely good person, and you use Jesus as your example of a supremely good person.
Yeah,
you should actually like that.
How dare he? Oh my goodness, they're saying he's going to destroy Jesus and he hates Jesus and Jesus is worthless, you see.
And so I want to respond to that, but all these idiots, as soon as I post a response, here's what he actually said in context, here's what the book says, here's what he obviously meant, and here's how you guys here's how whoever started posting these clips was deliberately trying to mislead gullible people and make them flip out over nothing. And what's the response? Oh, why are you licking Netanyahu's balls with this? And it's like, it's this weird situation where you're a good guy if you lie about people, and you're a bad guy if you expose the lies that you're telling about people. And that's a sick mentality, man.
It is sick.
You're sick. You're sick. Hey, you got your soundboard back.
What's the crux of the matter? Nothing. Aussie Abe, where is Issa? Not here. Ida, what's up, Ida? David never listens, he just answers. He's intoxicated by the exuberance of his own verbosity. Very nice words. Hello to you both. Thank you.
It's that dude, eat it. No. Just kidding, I remember.
Soldier of Christ. Do you guys potentially see Saudi Qatar behind this whole war, where they lobbied and using US and Israel to take down Shia Iran and trying to spread Sunnis and make Iran more extremist? Well, Saudi Arabia has had an age-old rivalry and hostility with Iran, and so does, in a sense, Qatar, although Qatar has more of an ambivalent relationship with Iran. So it is very, very much in Saudi Arabia's favor for the Islamic regime of Iran to be taken down. But I'm not sure how far they are behind it. I'm sure they do get behind it, but I'm not sure how far they are behind it, and if they are behind it as much as the Al-Zud were behind Muhammad. So.
Yeah, and again, guys, you have to deal with the reality that, once again, Trump was saying this stuff since the 1980s. You got to deal with Iran. You can't just let Iran go on like that. You can't do it. They're going to be a perpetual problem until what? Until they get a nuclear bomb, and then, oh no, now we have to do something. Why don't you stop that from ever being a thing that could happen? So anyway, as far as the United States is doing it because of this, or the United States is doing it because of that, the United States elected Donald Trump, who's been saying for decades, you got to deal with Iran. I would attribute it primarily to that. And if you recall, AP, back in January, when the protests broke out, and Trump told these guys, Trump told the protesters, "Hey, I'm going to come and help you guys." And he told the Iranian regime, "If you start killing your own people, we're going to come and stop you." And then he didn't. Guess what? It was a bunch of Arab Gulf rulers who met with him and told him, "Please don't go attack Iran."
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were the ones pulling the strings, making him attack Iran, why did they stop him back in January when he said he was going to do it?
It's a good question.
And I don't know why that is. I don't know if they find Iran useful in some way, or if it was just they know Iran's going to flip out and start bombing all their stuff because they'll just go down they'll try to go down in a blaze of glory, and maybe they didn't want their oil refineries and stuff blown up by Iran. But nope, I don't know. But as far as just nope, the United States did it because of this. Again, I think the primary reason is Trump's been saying that for a long time, and there are a lot of people who agree with him that you got to deal with problems and not just pass them off to the next generation when they're more dangerous.
In any case, I'm entirely for bombing the heck out of Iranian or Islamic regime facilities and government and anything, and as much as possible, taking over air superiority and urging the Iranian personnel to desert and to abandon the government. I am not for boots on the ground, except unless a proper operation at some point can be made. And I do not have any information from within the government. I don't know any of this. Right? Unless a proper strategy or proper plan can be made, and without putting average, regular troops on the ground, special forces, some kind of,
limited specific things, specific missions where you have to go in and take control of this thing or something like this, or get this group or something like that there. But yeah, as far as like marching in an army of 200,000 people.
That should never happen. That should never happen.
Mm-mm.
But I do think that it is a responsibility for a powerful and good country or government to go and take out the Islamic regime of Iran for what they are doing to the Iranian people, for the threats that they have made, for everything that they have done to Americans, for their attempt to literally assassinate people on American soil, including the president himself, and all that. So I think these are definitely things that should be done. Under no circumstances would I be in favor of a war like in Iraq or in Afghanistan, but I'm completely in favor of taking them out and then giving control to the people.
Oh, now that it's started, I would regard anything less than that as a humiliating loss.
Yes.
Yes. But yeah, I don't think you need to invade or anything. I would keep bombing their government and military until people in Iran take over.
Yes.
Or until enough people switch sides and say we're not doing this for forever. We're not just sitting here getting bombed forever. We give up. We're giving control to the people.
And if Western nations were more like in the past, this would be over very quickly. We have all these concerns like, oh no, we don't want to escalate conflict. And
no, that's what's seriously messed up. Like back in the day, you went and fought a war to win the war, crush your enemy, and then make sure that enemy could never do whatever it was that ticked you off. And it would be brutal. It would be a terribly brutal affair. You were trying to get it done and over as quickly as possible. Because the idea was, just think about this, right? It's, so if you go to war somewhere in Afghanistan or whatever, what you need to do is you need to come and, weaken the opposing military and just take some land and then stay there forever, because you don't want to be brutal and finish it. That would be too mean. And it's like, well, what's worse long term? Like pulling off the Band-Aid and just being brutal, but it's over and you've won, or just it continues for decades and never ends. To me, the never-ending war seems way worse than the being brutal and winning brutally.
This is funny. Somebody just asked, who's the lady on the screen? And I forgot that I have her on the screen. Okay, so she's a ex-Iran soccer player. I'm not watching this video.
Soccer player.
It's
football. They got it right.
It's football.
Good job, Associated Press.
Soccer. Soccer. I want to watch around a soccer. Soccer. It's football.
I'm just, to be clear, if you distinguish between football and soccer, everyone understands what you're saying. If you call multiple different sports all football, everyone's confused every time. So hats off to the Associated Press for using clear terminology.
Nobody uses the word football for egg bowl anywhere outside the United States of America. Everybody uses the word
and
football.
Soon European nations will have their own real football teams, and then there will all of a sudden get a burst of testosterone.
You know what soccer stands for? It stands for Association Football. Shortened soccer, because Americans don't want to say football because they have their own football. It is literally, you're literally acknowledging that it's called football by saying soccer. Look, Association Football. This is soccer stands for Association.
That doesn't say that it stands for that.
Sock.
It doesn't stand for that. There's no. You don't even have the letters in there. Where's your R? Where's your R? Where's the R coming from? It doesn't stand for that.
Name.
Now, keep in mind, if you guys wanted to say association football, go ahead and say association football. Say association football or soccer. Don't say, if you just say football, no one understands what the heck you're saying.
Oh, damn. I'm refuting myself right now.
You are totally refuting yourself and embarrassing yourself.
No, in that sense, I'm correct. It comes from association football, but I'm refuting myself by saying it's Americans who do that. It says here the term soccer comes from Oxford AR slang, which was prevalent at the University of Oxford in England.
1875.
In England? The English are responsible for this stupid word?
Yeah, so I don't even understand what the heck the problem is. So this wasn't imposed. This was their choice. All right. Respect their wishes. Call it soccer.
I just lost all respect for England.
I just lost all respect for Turkish people.
In England, from
Which
about
I didn't have any to begin with.
1875, and is thought to have been borrowed from the slang of rugby school. Initially spelled a soccer. A soccer. They used to call it a soccer. A shortening of association. So it was called association football, and people started calling it a soccer. A soccer. A soccer. A soccer. Early alternative spellings include soccer and soccer.
Soccer's funny. I like soccer with the K too. That's better.
What is wrong, dude? This whole time I thought this is just a stupid American thing.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. A notable exception is New Zealand, where in the first 2 decades of the 21st century, under the influence, they were under the influence, all right, of international television, football has been gaining prevalence despite the dominance of other codes of football. You see that? It's a new thing trying to call this football.
Oh wait, Australians also call it soccer, and in Canada, South Africa, most of Ireland? I just lost respect for half the world.
You're looking all kinds of clueless now, buddy.
It is literally football.
Self-owned.
AP's like, I will prove to you that football is the correct name. Now let me go to this article which tells me I'm wrong in every possible way and that I've been humiliated.
Well, the majority of those who actually played call it football. Those cultures who actually respect it call it football.
I've never heard any soccer player call it football.
Well, anyway, Johanna said it's football. Football.
They should call it estrogen ball.
And with a bunch of Brazil flags. Very, very nice. Of course, an American will probably not know why Brazil is such an important flag in football, but respect to you, Johanna. Much respect to you. God bless you all, she said, and God bless you. Anyway, let's watch what she says.
Trying to come.
Before I was interrupted, I was going to say ex-Iran soccer player says players chanting death to America shouldn't be allowed in a World Cup. Okay, let's listen now.
Are trying to convince visas are trying to convince the United States to don't give visa to those are chanting death to America, death to Israel, because those players are the most of them are working with regime. So why they have to come here and use those benefits? Because sports is not for criminals. Sports is not for terrorists. Sport is for the right.
It's not for what, did she just say?
She said sport is not for terrorists.
Before that, what did she say? It's not for what?
Sports is not for terrorists, is not benefits, because sports is not for criminals. Sports
criminals.
Oh, criminals. Okay.
Yeah. So what's she talking about here? Is she saying that if you're going to have like the Iranian team come over, you should not allow them if they're the kind who are screaming death to America and stuff like that because they're criminals and they support a criminal regime? That's what you're the one who put that on the screen, man. This person posted it. You can't control what that person has already posted.
That's
but it's your choice to put that on the screen. That's on you. That's like 2% that person and 98% you.
That's what I initially heard too. So I did that. But anyway,
it's not for cream nuts, man. She got a point. Sports is not for cream nuts. For athletes, not cream nuts.
Stop making fun of what she's saying, okay? She's giving a serious talk here. She's saying that those who are pro-Islamic regime in the football team should not be allowed to come here on a visa because there's going to be the whole full World Cup event in America, the football World Cup event. And she says they should not be allowed to come here.
This is not for terrorists. Sport is for the right people. The right athletes, people of Iran. Where are them? In the prison. So those are not Iranian national soccer team. Those are the regime national soccer team. And that would be I'm trying so hard to convince the United States. We cannot do anything with FIFA, honestly, because Gianni Infantino is a good friend and ally to the regime. He always shake their hand. They're murderers. And we try so hard to convince him, but honestly, he's not in our side, the right side of the history. We have a campaign, which is more than 50 athletes, and we are named United Against Sport Washing. And our goal, our purpose is to boycott the Islamic Republic from
what is her name?
I don't know.
Shiva Amini, a former player for the Iranian women's national soccer team, who is now living in
New York City.
Global sports, because in one hand, the regime is chanting death to America, death to Israel. Iranian athletes, Iran cannot even shake the hand of the Israeli players and also play with them. This is the first time the world is talking about Iranian, and all eyes are on Iran. I just can't.
So Shiva Amini is an Iranian women's futsal player.
The heck is futsal?
Which is a form of a scaled-down version of association football played between two teams of 5 players.
Yeah, it looks like it's played on a court and not on a field.
Formerly playing for Iran national team and former Iranian Women's Futsal Premier League club. She immigrated from Iran in 2017 and currently lives in Switzerland. Since 2009, she was no longer included in the national team because she had published pictures of herself without hijab during one of her foreign trips and had played futsal with boys. Can't play with boys. Finally, the Iranian Islamic Iranian Islamic Republic regime's harassment forced her to leave Iran and seek asylum in Switzerland. Today, she is a youth and children's futsal coach in Switzerland.
So, guys, you're either on the side of this woman and freedom, or you're on the side of the cream nuts. You have to pick. The free, good Iranians or cream nuts? Who are you going to support? That's what I thought. What?
You know, these progressives and liberals around the world should be speaking out for the Iranians and should be speaking against the Islamic regime. They should be supporting the destruction of the Islamic regime. They should be pushing the world. They should be mobilizing around the world to push the Islamic regime to lay down, to disarm, and to you know, to dissolve, and
they're the cream nuts
and all that. And this is because she took off her hijab, because of a photo. Because she published pictures without hijab during one of her trips. And because she played sports with guys.
Hold up. You need Jack Ray's super chat here. He says, football scaled down is futsal. Futsal scaled down is footsie, which normally only has 2 players. More than 2 players gets odd. That would be weird for footsie. So, Jack Ray is correct.
I find it funny that that you people call table football Fußball, which is literally just the German word for football.
Yeah, I know, but like Germany's so far away, all the players look really small, so it makes sense to us.
That makes sense.
And tell you about that. This is the first time I'm hopeful because we want regime change, but we don't care how, because without help from outside, we cannot do that. It's impossible. Even with Israel and United States, they still have power. They still can control internet. They still can go after our families. I just hope finish as soon as possible, but with regime change, because we don't want United States and Israel leave Iranian people with a wounded regime.
Good. So, but for those curious about her name, because I saw it come up several times here, the Iranian name Shiva is actually completely unrelated to the Hindu name Shiva. It's actually a somewhat common Iranian name and just means like charming or something like that. I mean, I don't know if it's completely unrelated, but it could be etymologically related or something, but it has no connection to that name. So different words. Let us see.
Let us see. Let us see. Let us see.
Maybe David will check out what happens to our Aussie PM today. Happened to our Aussie PM today, and an aid, the religion of peace, keeps giving. They let in by memory 12 ISIS brides also. What did happen to him? To your Aussie PM. Mushy season said.
Was that dork with the glasses?
Yes. A female personage in my household had respect for the visuals on your new solo video, says AP. What AP? Female personage in my household had respect for the visuals on your new solo video.
That Jorge's dumb background?
Yes, why is this worded in such a curious way?
You can buy that dumb thing. You can buy one of those dumb things for like 20 grand.
I know, it costs a lot of money. Apparently he bought it for much less than that.
He is good at getting deals. Jorge's good at getting deals. He's like, hey, vato.
It's kind of funny to hang out.
How about you give it to me for $5 and I get these other chumps like Paste Profit to buy one, eh? And they're like, sure. He's like, hey, I'll get this dumb Turkish gringo to buy one.
It's funny to hang out with him because like he just talks to anybody. It's like you go out with Jorge, you go eating or something, and he just ends up having a conversation and being friends with this server and that person and this person on the other side of the table, this person at the other table, having deep conversations about work, world, faith. It's like, dude, I can barely talk to one person, and he just talks to anybody. Gotta admire such people. Anyway, female personage. I guess you're referring to the desert. That's what they admired in the desert. They admired the desert, which was different from the Zut desert. It's something like the Dune desert. Yes, I admire the desert too.
Hey, all I did was ask AI here. All I did was type in Australian PM Eid. It said on March 19th, that's today, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, baby, and Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke, let me guess that, the Burke, were heckled and booed.
Booed the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Minister for Home Affairs Tony Burke during an Eid celebration in Sydney's southwest.
Get him out of here! We as Australian Muslims, get him out of here! He's the
The pair was invited by the Lebanese Muslim Association to attend the celebrations at Lakemba Mosque. 50,000 Muslims are expected to attend today to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan. And reporter Max Tillman.
It's breaking down, man. Maybe these idiot politicians are going to realize what they're dealing with. They don't care and come that
you think they will realize? They will not.
No, of course not. No, absolutely not. 0% chance. Other people watching might learn. Wait a minute, this guy's going there to show respect, and they flip out on him. Why? At the end of the day, they want complete, total control over you, and they will continue flipping out until they have that. And so it's not just come and show your respects and show that you support them. It's you have to be completely controlled by the people that you brought in.
Like I have no love for Mr. Albanese.
I do. You're supposed to love everyone, AP.
Not in that
way. Even insanely stupid people.
Not in that sense. But I don't want to use those words, but it's kind of true. You are a guest in this country. You are invited to this country. You are in this country because this country allows you to be there. So you come into this country, you build your mosques there, and then you shout at the prime minister of this country and say, get him out of here, this guy's a scumbag, get him out of here, he supports genocide, get him out of here. I'm sorry, why the hell don't you get out of here and go back to your shithole country? You can keep shouting at each other.
That's an ongoing issue, and they still haven't caught on to it. They think, hey, we're going to bring in another 100,000 people from horrible crap hole places where it's just death, disease, and bloodshed all day long. And they'll be so happy that we brought them in. You're bringing in people who think they're supposed to control the world. So they don't come there and think, oh, I'm so grateful. Keep in mind, some do, but a lot of them, no, they're supposed to be controlling you. And you bringing them in is simply Allah's way of helping you take over the world.
Allahu Akbar, this is what he wants. But seriously, get the hell out of here and go back to your camels and your camel pee, and you're blowing each other up and knifing each other and all that, marrying children. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that. Or don't do that anywhere. Okay, marrying cousins. Let's say marrying cousins. Go back to marrying cousins and riding donkeys and drinking camel urine, instead of shouting at the host of the nation that actually is kind enough to give people like you the unfortunate right that I would personally never approve of giving to live in this country. Just the absolute ungrateful savages. Anyway, interesting developments.
The time began.
Yep. The thing is, I can't listen to this atrocious Martian accent.
The Prime Minister.
He went over there to toss another shrimp on the barbie and cuddle a koala. But this koala tried to rip his eyeballs out.
Look at this. They try to build like roads and plant trees and build buildings there because they don't want you to see that the ground under that is just completely red and barren desert like Mars. They're trying to artificially create an actual country. This is what they do in Australia.
And cover up the fact that the entire island is populated by criminals.
100%. Kit Kat, that, and Mary's number one fan. Hey, I thought you were my number one fan. How Thad and Mary's number one fan.
Huh. Their only fan. Oops. Dang it. It was an accident.
Good on AP for streaming about an important topic. Oh, hi, David.
Hey, what's up?
Mushy Season says, Mushy gifted 5 memberships. Well, thank you. And thank you for imprisoning 5 more people into the cult, out of which there is no escape unless you want to be executed. Ari Yerushalmi, great to see you, AP. Honestly, you and David Wood and his gang, Robert Spencer, give me hope. Maybe it's just X, but feeling lots of anti-Semitism from Christians. Yeah, it's that's actually a good thing.
It is a lot on X. X is not a perfect reflection of reality, but it is getting worse.
I said it's actually a good thing. I was a good thing to bring up. It sounded like I said it's a good thing.
You said it's a good thing. Look, you guys are complaining about Netanyahu. Look at this monster right here. He just said that anti-Semitism from Christians is a good thing.
Here is, I was happy to see that finally the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops actually made a statement about anti-Semitism. Here, they posted this yesterday. Catholics are called to reject anti-Semitism and the lies and conspiracies that fuel it, and to stand clearly against hatred and violence directed toward our Jewish brothers and sisters. To defend religious freedom with integrity, we must also reject anti-Semitism.
Interesting. Hey, AP, you should make a video about that, man.
Yeah. We are called to walk in the truth, and so to reject the conspiracies and lies that lead to harassment and even violence against our Jewish brothers and sisters. There is a strong connection between religious freedom and working to counter anti-Semitism, as Nostra Aetate puts it, in a rejection of every persecution against any man. The Church, mindful of the patrimony she shares with the Jews, and moved not by political reasons, but by the gospel's spiritual love, decries hatred, persecutions, displays of anti-Semitism directed against Jews at any time and by anyone. The Jewish community is attacked at a far higher rate than any other religious group in the United States. If we Catholics, in truly living out the gospel, are to defend religious freedom with integrity, we must clearly speak out against anti-Semitism.
Ethia Chico said, why does this look like an AI video? It's because that's the way he talks, I guess. I was thinking the same thing. I thought he has a strange way of speaking.
These guys got me just wanting to do nothing but make AI videos of myself nowadays.
But this is his name is Archbishop Sample. Now I'm beginning to think this is AI, that they created a figure called Archbishop Sample, Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Portland in Oregon. Okay, fine. I guess he's not AI. He could be still. We don't know. Unless you go and shake hands with him directly, he could still be AI. Even then, he could still be AI. We don't know.
AP, you could make an AI shake your booty and say, shake your booty is a sheikh, world-renowned sheikh, and he's the imam of the El Hayat Mosque in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
Who's going to stop you?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody. So they did this. They made a statement about this, which is very good, because the Catholic Church is actually very clear in rejecting anti-Semitism. The Catholic Church strongly condemns anti-Semitism because it recognizes the Jewish people as those first chosen by God and as the root from which Christianity itself grew. The Church teaches that God's covenant with the Jewish people has never been revoked and that the Jewish faith is intrinsically linked to Christian salvation history, since Jesus, Mary, the apostles, and the earliest Christians were all Jewish. In the Declaration Nostra Aetate, the Second Vatican Council explicitly rejected the idea that all Jews are responsible for the death of Christ and stated that any form of hatred, persecution, or discrimination against Jews is contrary to the gospel and the dignity of the human person. For these reasons, anti-Semitism is considered a grave moral wrong within Catholic teaching. Lots of so-called Catholics online really missed that memo a long time ago. And I mean, as I was looking into Catholicism, I quickly came across this. So I'm not sure how they missed it, if they also care a little bit about the Catholic Church, which they pretend to follow. Ari Yerushalmi.
You already read this 17 times.
And the funny thing with the Catholic Church is that the Catholic Church, people can have their reasons, and I have mine too, in different ways, to see this as a negative side of the Catholic Church. But with the Catholic Church, their declarations and teachings are not just things as a Catholic that you simply read and then put behind you and just ignore and think, oh yeah, that's what they think. I don't agree. No, these are binding teachings. These are binding teachings. These are the teachings that are taught, that are given, that are taught to somebody in order to become a Catholic. If you want to become a Catholic, you're supposed to go to the Catholic Catechism, which includes these very same references that say that anti-Semitism is condemned and rejected. So I have a difficult time believing that these online Catholics are actually Catholic. Hey, did you guys hear about Donald Trump made a Pearl Harbor joke to Japan today? I saw earlier somebody posted, "This is not a real country," with a laughing emoji, and with Donald Trump next to somebody from Japan, but I didn't see what it was about. No, I'm kind of curious.
Now I'm kind of curious too.
Trump, Pearl Harbor. Let's see. What did he really say this? What the heck? What? Wait.
They brought it up, man.
What?
They brought it up. That's on you guys.
So Japan and US are very good friends. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. When we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay?
He seriously just blurts out whatever pops into his head.
Dude.
And why didn't the Shogun Yamaguchi announce that he was coming to attack the rival city?
Dude. He just says anything, man.
I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise.
Yeah.
Right?
No, seriously, you would trust European nations? You're going to trust Keir Starmer and all these guys? Hey, guys, we're about to start blowing these guys up. Don't tell. Come on.
Yeah. The last person you want to trust is Keir Starmer. And as an old ancient English saying captures it very well. Keir Starmer is a wanker. Yeah.
It is pretty funny. Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Paul says Laura Loomer exposed that Kent's current wife works for Max Blumenthal. Really? He's a pro-Russia, pro-Iran journalist, and Kent was a Bernie voter. Are you serious? Okay, I have to look into that. Paul says we need a website called Candy Can't Do It that would be filled with Kenneth's false predictions and theories, including the one that her husband is straight. Moshi says Steiker attack had real consequences for families. Iran are attacking families. Yes. Idaro goes in, just listen what the guy from the Islamic regime is saying in the end of the video. It says a lot. Yes. Why bomb us? Ayatollah signed nuclear fatwa in 2005. Are we honest? We won't enrich uranium after fatwa. We are honest. We won't enrich uranium after fatwa. Uranium, you see, today is not for kafir bomb trust. Sivako. Sounds like Bibi is echoing Raymond Ibrahim regarding doormat Christianity. Powerful. Bibi's mistake isn't understanding enter Ushu quote.
That the people
Osho.
are retarded.
Oh, yeah.
He said Ushu instead of Osho.
Yeah. Okay. The superchat says Ushu.
But the people are retarded.
I love that in the end. But the people are retarded. Kit Kat says Netanyahu came back to life and came out of his coffin to talk badly about Jesus. He'll be dead again tomorrow. Groiber probably. Jason Jess, welcome to the club. Paul, this Netanyahu incident can actually be a good video on how people are blind to the truth when Bibi called Jesus good and Christians got angry at him. It's so incredible to me, man. It's like they say, they hate Jesus, and you see the guy obviously using Jesus as synonym for good. He refers to Jesus. He uses Jesus when he talks about goodness, and you're trying to convince me that this guy is like that he's all against Jesus and all that. It's just so stupid, man. He uses it when talking to fellow Jews. What a bunch of people think on X. So you're saying that the conspiracists think? They don't. They do think, but their brains are clogged. Fox McCloud, yes, by Joe Kent, said that Iran, it's just a misunderstood teddy bear. It is indeed. For some reason, I have great difficulties reading tonight. Ryan Gazing, someone tell Netanyahu. That's true. Someone tell Netanyahu that no one is good except God.
So you point out, he said Jesus is good, but no one's good except God. Who's that making? Good. And then all of Israel converts.
Yeah, that's how it happens. That's how it is prophesied. The world has fallen. Is that really up to dispute? No. Natural Pharmagonist says zoot zoot. Well, let me say zoot zoot, but not much else. So zoot zoot. Everyone zoot 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 zoot. Fox McCloud. Now is no time for dessert. For desert. Love you guys. Not trying to troll. Text is not enough to communicate my thoughts. I know. Sorry for calling you retarded, Bobby. I'm also retarded. Hope that helps. Aussie Abe. Aussies call soccer. That's good. Steve Roseru. False information crashes your entire career because of football. That's true.
Matter of fact, I remember that from Crocodile Dundee. He said, what, are you going to play soccer like a Sheila?
Well, I guess then Australians are also guilty. Australians are just as guilty and just as bad as Americans. What am I supposed to say now? What am I going to say? Is that what you wanted me to say? Yeah, there you have it. Australians are just as bad as Americans. Nobody can come close to be as good as the glorious people of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain, of the empire where the sun never sets. Which was like 200 years ago. Sar says, if Bibi used Buddha instead, the Jew haters would say, you see, he hates Jesus. You can't even use him as an example of good.
That's a good point.
Yes,
I'll
exactly.
probably steal that point. By the way, that is true. It's like, he was only using Will Durant's quote. But imagine he tried to give an example of some supremely good person and didn't choose Jesus. They'd be saying, you see, he doesn't even think Jesus is the best. But he uses Jesus as an example of someone who's supremely good. And they condemn him anyway. Therefore,
he shouldn't be using Jesus. Even if he just followed up with that and after that quote and said, to get rid of any misunderstandings, what I mean here is that it is not enough to be just like Jesus in the worldly sense. And I'm of course not making a statement about the power of Jesus. And even if he at that point said, you know what, I have just decided at this moment right now that I also believe in Jesus and he's my Lord and Savior, they would say, well, look, it's a Jew. It's a Jew. Why is a Jew talking about Jesus? He's lying to you. Blue Moon. I think Starbucks have. I don't want to say it, man. I'm not going to say it.
You have a bunch of weirdos watching your channel, man.
You just wasted $2. I'm not saying. Blue said Turks are white adjacent gringos. Yes. Everyone knows that. Natural Farmer Guinness. YouTube hates my super chats. Zoot zoot. YouTube sucks. Hey,
Rebecca.
Rebecca, how you doing, Rebecca? Hope you're doing well. I know you texted me a while ago. How are you doing? And that I didn't text you back because I'm a horrible person. But instead, I'm asking you now. I am good. How are you doing? I hope that is good enough. Jason Jeff. Hey, AP, do you believe that Allah is the same God in the Bible, or he is Pazuzu, a demon god? Or I wonder why Allah did not protect Islam. Please check the comparison of Allah and Pazuzu. No, I do not by any means at all believe that Allah is the same God as the one in the Bible. I think that,
don't let Cameron Bertuzzi hear you say that, buddy.
The most charitable that I can get, happily, is I will say that that when Muslims refer to Allah, then they believe that they do refer to and worship the same God that is the God of the Bible. That is the closest I can get. That's the closest I can get. But other than that, it's a different God. He doesn't have the same name. He doesn't have the same qualities. He doesn't have the same nature. He doesn't have the same anything at all. It's a different God that is developed with plagiarism, with copying the Jewish first and then Christian understanding of God, with a good mix of polytheistic pre-Islamic paganism, and it's literally what they called Hubal, which is their version of Baal in the desert of Arabia, of Mecca. It is a polytheistic, syncretistic God that Muhammad claimed is the same God that the Jews and Christians worship. So,
Pazuzu is a prominent Mesopotamian demon known as the king of wind demons, representing the southwest wind that brings storms and drought. Despite his terrifying appearance, a hybrid with a canine face, eagle-like talons, and wings, he was paradoxically used as a protective spirit to ward off plague and the evil demoness Lemashtu. Hey, you ever see The Exorcist?
Yes.
That was the demon that supposedly possessed her in the movie. Nice. Pazuzu is the real-world ancient demon that possesses Reagan McNeil in the 1973 film The Exorcist.
The funny thing about Pazuzu is the way they came up with the name is because of the wind. When the wind gets like very loud and all that and comes through windows, it makes the sound. So they named the wind. They named the wind god Pazuzu.
Now notice.
I made that up.
Yeah, obviously. If you wanted to make a parallel, what you'd say is look at what happens when Pazuzu possesses that girl from The Exorcist, and look at what happens when Muhammad receives revelations, because they're basically the exact same thing.
Exactly. It's pretty powerful. pretty powerful. What?
Muhammad would prefer Pazuzut. Pazuzut.
I was thinking something similar. Aussie here. Albanese is not well liked here. I know people hate Albanese, but then again, when the elections come, you vote for these guys. So
yeah, you guys keep doing it. Other people stupid. And think about this, right? The people will hate these guys for selling them out, and they're like, "But it's worth it as long as the Muslims like us," and then the Muslims hate him.
It's very funny. Primary vote swing 34.56%. Most popular candidate in the last elections, in the Australian federal elections. The two-party preferred vote. Afterwards, between him and the other, he got 55% of the vote. 55% of the vote.
55% of the population of Great Britain, of Australia.
Little Britain.
Are morons.
Hey.
100% of them are criminals.
And they live on Mars. which everybody knows.
The Western Desert lives and breathes in 45 degrees.
Before you say it,
Time has come. What?
Voter turnout 90%. 90%.
What are they just like bring the voting booth into the prison or something?
90% voted. Interesting. Does everybody go and vote here? Interesting. 90%. 90%. So, Anthony Al-Zut-Easy should be sent to prison. Anthony Al-Zut-Easy. Hobocop, the group who shouts death to America are apparently not the bad guys. The Jews I met here are curious about Christianity and love America and are thankful. I know.
That's what they want you to think. The Jews, they're nice to you because they want to trick you, because they want your money and your blood, so that they can together talk trash about Jesus after they drink your blood, you see?
Squeaky Toy, us Aussie convicts do not like Albanese. See? David, we have a convict here.
Well, 55% of you did, apparently.
Smart. That was good. Mushy seasons. Trump snuck it in. Yes.
He always does that. He doesn't care who he's sitting beside. Who was it? Was it Erdogan or something? He's talking about elections and stuff, and he goes, "No one knows more about this guy than rigged elections." He said something like that. I think it was Erdogan. No one knows more than this guy about rigged elections. Yeah, like he said it right. Said it right with the guy right beside him. He's pretty funny.
Japan also started a war with Russia in 1904 with a surprise attack on Port Arthur, Manchuria. Japan would never do something like that. They would never start wars with surprise attacks. They would never attack anybody or rape a whole Chinese township. Rich White became a YouTube member. Welcome to the club. Gifted 20 Apostate Prophet memberships, Jack Ray. Robert Michael, I pay best Ruka Ali song. It's funny, I actually met Ruka Ali when I was in Israel. And the thing is, at that time, I would listen to the stupid songs on his channel and I would love it. And then he texts me one day and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he asked me if I want to meet him, if I want to meet up while in Israel. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I met him. He's a funny guy. Ruka Ali is a funny guy. I met him in Israel. I will never forget. But when it comes to my favorite Ruka Ali song, I'm not entirely sure. I kind of like the song Hello. I also like some of the Islam songs. There's a lot of good stuff. Grand Admiral. Of course, Australia is in trouble. It started as an island of cream nuts. Terrible, terrible. Aussie Abe, did you call me a criminal? Actually, I did break the law in Lakemba. See, he did break something. Khamenei has one leg. He is Alan incarnate. P.S. I don't vote. There is no one worth voting for. I didn't do it. Not my fault. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bull. You know what's funny? I just remembered that I never talked about the topic of this live stream.
Yeah, I know. You're 2 hours into it. You got the wrong topic. So either get to the topic or just change the thumbnail to the Netanyahu thing.
So here is the funny thing.
It's not funny to freaking assassinate a rustler, man.
It's not assassination, it's execution. So Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran, executed a famous youth champion wrestler, not American wrestling, real wrestling, a wrestler of their national team, a national wrestler. They executed him for participating in the protests. Iran executes 19-year-old champion wrestler Saleh Mohammadi, 2 others in horrific public hangings. What they what they do is, of course, they hang these people, they execute these people publicly. So in Iran, if you get in trouble, and if the government really wants to get rid of you, this is the guy. This is the guy, a champion, a wrestler. He protested against the government, against the Islamic regime. He got arrested for participating in protests. Freaking New York Post. And Iran executed a 19-year-old champion wrestler in a public hanging Thursday, along with 2 other people who were arrested during the brutal crackdown on anti-regime protesters in January. Saleh Mohammadi, a rising star from Qom, was allegedly tortured to confess to the capital crime of waging war against God. Aha! Aha!
Heard that one before.
Aha!
Sounds like, I don't know, sounds like a surah, maybe surah 5. Let's just pick an ayah at random. 33.
33? Oh,
533.
33 makes sense.
And guys, you don't understand, like, this is like really, I don't mean this. I mean how sick and evil this has been for decades. After every terrorist attack, ISIS, all that stuff, we would hear back in the day, oh, but these guys aren't real Muslims, because Islam says if you kill a man, it's as if you've killed all of mankind. So Islam is against killing. And what did we say? We said, read the entire verse, which says that this was for the children of Israel, because it's a quote from the Talmud. And then we say, read the very next verse, which gives all these punishments, execution, dismemberment, crucifixion, for the vague crime of making mischief in the land or waging war against Allah. How do you wait? And they'll say, oh, this is talking about war. It's how do you wage war against Allah? Go to your commentaries by opposing Sharia, by disagreeing with anything in Islam. And so here you have Western politicians, tons of them, and you had Western journalists, tons of them, all quoting verse 32 of chapter 5, saying, see, Islam's peaceful and tolerant. It's against killing. The very next verse is used by Muslim regimes to kill anyone they want. They just say, yep, you're waging war against Allah.
So where does this come from? It comes from a certain Quran verse. It comes exactly from here. Quran chapter 5, verse 33. It says the following. Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and his messenger and strive upon earth to cause corruption is none but that they be killed or crucified, or that their hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides, or that they be exiled from the land. That is for them a disgrace in this world, and for them in the hereafter is a great punishment. This is what the Quran says. The penalty for those who wage a war against Allah and his messenger. So the Islamic regime, when it executes this man for protesting, is executing him directly based on the rules of the Quran, because he waged war against Allah simply by protesting the Islamic regime, because the Islamic regime is basically like the proper representation, the proper house of Allah on the earth. And if you protest that, you are basically waging war against Allah. That is what you're doing. Similarly, the caliphate in the past was considered the righteous lead, the righteous rule. And if you protested against it or fought against it, you are waging war against Allah, which is why you deserve to be killed, according to Islam. So Islam says if you wage war against Allah, you're supposed to be killed. And how do you wage war against Allah? By causing mischief in the land, protesting, opposing, spreading corruption, blasphemy, stuff like that.
Keep in mind, they can kill any protester just based on this vague crime in the Quran. That's why we pointed out it is dangerous to have these vague things. Oh, if you're waging war against Allah or causing mischief, hey, that woman over there, isn't wearing a hijab. What's she doing? She's spreading mischief
against Allah. With the teen executed without a fair trial, according to human rights groups. He was executed. He's 19 years old, and he was
Champion wrestler.
executed for waging war against Allah. His execution was a blatant political murder, part of the Islamic Republic's pattern of targeting athletes to crush dissent and terrorize society, Nima Far, a human rights activist and Iranian combat athlete, told Fox News. Mohammadi, along with fellow protesters Mehdi Rassemi and Saeed Dawoodi, were accused of killing 2 police officers with knives and swords during the January protests, according to Iranian state media. Despite appeals from the US, the protesters were found guilty and executed by Tehran. These are the typical excuses: with knives, with swords. Yeah, and they got swords. They got swords and killed police officers.
Yeah, cops got guns. And these guys came up with their swords.
Following mass arrests during the January protest, President Trump said he was reassured by Tehran that the executions would not take place, claiming to have saved the lives of some 800 demonstrators and such and such. But Tehran denied that and rushed through the defendants' trials after the US and Israel waged war in Iran. Amnesty International slammed the executions, alleging that the men were denied adequate defense and forced to make confessions. There is no proper justice there. You can't expect to actually be heard and have real justice at play. If you cause trouble, you are to be killed under different circumstances because you wage war against Allah. The executions come as the solemn-looking Iran's women's soccer team returned to their home country Wednesday. This is also what happened over the last week, where the Iranian women's football team women were refused to sing the national anthem, and were then threatened, and then decided to appeal for asylum or apply for asylum in Australia. But they started being threatened all over the internet and by the state. So they allegedly Australian authorities know about this, that they were being threatened directly and pressured by the Islamic regime. But the Australian government, of course, didn't do anything about it. They were given asylum, and then after much pressure and threats against their families, the women went back to Iran. Not sure what's going to happen to them now. So this is what's going on. This is what's going on in this horrible, horrible place ruled by evil bastards. Christian theologetics, how would you respond to the claim that the Injil can't be any book in the New Testament, since unlike the New Testament, the Injil was supposed to be given to Jesus during his time on earth? Quran chapter 5, verse 46. I would say it rests on a false premise given by Islam, but you go ahead. You give it, David.
Yeah, multiple problems. The Quran says we have the Injil and orders us to judge by the Injil.
I'll be right back. This is very important.
Go ahead. Take your time. Take your time. Be a way better show with you somewhere else. All right. So this is one of the most common responses to the Islamic dilemma. We point out that the Quran affirms the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of the gospel that Christians still have. And Muslims say, no, it's just saying that this is a book given to Jesus. Okay, you got some problem, because again, the Quran says that we have it. It says that this is where we find prophecies about Muhammad, and it orders us to judge by it. Christians, do you have a book that was simply handed to Jesus that he then handed to his followers? No. Do you have any record anywhere of Christians ever having a book that was handed to Jesus? No. So if that's what the Quran means, the gospel is just a book given to Jesus, all right, then Islam is already false. We've never had such a book. Oh, that means you lost it. No, he says we had it in the 7th century, right? So Christians in the 7th century had the gospel and were ordered to judge by the gospel. So the gospel is given in the 1st century. and then it's passed on to the 2nd century. It's in the 3rd century. It's in the 4th. If it's in the 7th century and all the way down to Arabia, that means it spread through all the way down to the 7th century and made its way all the way down to Arabia. Okay, there should be at least one like reference to it somewhere ever, right? So in other words, if you are just saying, hey, this guy Muhammad comes and he says he has revelations, and he's talking about the book you have, and that book was just a book that was sort of dropped on Jesus. Should we trust this guy? No, we would say he has no clue what he's talking about. He has zero. If he thinks that we have a book that was handed to Jesus, and that's what we have, and that's what we're supposed to judge by, he has no clue what he's talking about. He's a false prophet, right? Muhammad would have no clue what he's talking about. He's a false prophet. So, in order to do is you would just say that the Quran is using the word gospel in 2 different ways. Why would we think that? Because Christians do that as well, right? We say that Jesus was preaching the gospel. The word gospel is good news. It's good news. It's not any kind of good news. It's certain kinds of really, really life altering, life shattering, if you're a bad guy, good news. Certain kinds of good news. When a new Roman emperor came to the throne, that was the news that would go out. It's called the Evangelion, good news. If the Roman legions went out and fought the barbarians and defeated the barbarians, the news that would get spread was the Evangelion, the good news. Right? So what you would say is you could agree with Surah 5, verse 46, that the gospel was given to Jesus. The Injil was given to Jesus. That's what it says, right? Because Christians would agree. Jesus came with the gospel. If you're talking about the gospel as a book that Christians have, which the Quran also says, Surah 7, verse 157, calls it the gospel that is written down with them. It's inscribed. We have it. It's a text. And it's a book that Christians have in the 7th century and can be ordered to judge by. Well, you just say, okay, if you're talking about some spoken revelation, some spoken message, yes, Jesus and his followers could preach the gospel. If you're talking about a book, okay, we know what the gospel is if you're talking about a book in the 7th century. So the point here is when Muslims say, oh, it's not talking about the gospel you have, it's just talking about the gospel given to Jesus. Okay, the Quran says we have it. Do we have a book given to Jesus? And for some reason, they're so stupid, they don't get the point. They're like, ha, you admit that you don't have it. Your God says we have it. And your prophet says we have it. Do we have it? No, you've been refuted. You don't have it. Okay. Your God says that we have the gospel. Your prophet says that we have the gospel. The Quran, your God says in the Quran, 7:157, 547, 566, 568, says that we have the gospel. Muhammad, Jami at Termini, 2653, says that the Injil is with the Christians. We have this. We have this. That's the situation. If you're saying the Injil only refers to a book given to Jesus, Christians have never had that. And any prophet who comes along and says, yep, that's the book that you have, is obviously a false prophet. We're being generous when we say, okay, maybe the Quran is using the word gospel in multiple ways, like Christians do. Like we could talk about preaching the gospel. We could talk about the book that we have. If we're doing it like that, then you don't conclude that Muhammad must be a false prophet because he's talking about a book given to Jesus. You can say, okay, he's talking about the message that Jesus was preaching as the gospel. But then when it's talking about the book that Christians have and the book that Christians are supposed to judge by, that's talking about an actual text that we have. And then the Islamic dilemma still goes. So in other words, them thinking that the gospel is a book given to Jesus is a serious problem for them. And it means that Muhammad's obviously a false prophet.
You know what's funny? Muslims want to deny Paul's authority because they say Paul never met Jesus and didn't talk to him. But at the same time, they want to follow everything that the Quran says when Muhammad never met Jesus or never met any of the other people that he quotes or that it quotes. And they also believe that Muhammad
Paul said, am I not an apostle? Have I not seen Jesus our Lord?
And they also believe that Muhammad writes or conveys the words of Allah when Muhammad never met Allah, or maybe he did meet Allah, and Allah, which is an evil demon or something. I don't know. And they say he was given the revelations by Jibreel when he never met Jibreel, unless Jibreel is a perverted version of Gabriel. But it's so funny, it's so convenient how they can believe in the revelations that, of Allah that miraculously come to Muhammad, which nobody else witnesses. But they have such great difficulty following the New Testament and Paul's words, for which there are hundreds of witnesses that we know of, aside from the thousands we don't know of. Hypocrites. Or as Perfect Tao would say, Hippocrates. Sketch art therapy confessed, wouldn't accept evidence he wasn't there. Yeah. Paul, Christians on X, Jews don't accept Jesus, they're enemies. Netanyahu calls Jesus good. You see, this is evil. No wonder Jews aren't tempted to convert. I mean, this is kind of the point of the recent developments and works of what's it called? The Council of Jewish Christian Things. Jewish Christian. What's the name of that organization? Council of Christians and Jews, which kind of laid out this whole thing of how the past wasn't kind, and it certainly did not lead to either side accepting each other or being persuaded by each other with these approaches. It certainly does not help. And for some reason, people only have this hate toward Jews. The Jews. Kit Kat, why are all of their gods animal hybrids? Also, I haven't seen The Exorcist and I refuse to watch it. That's all right. You don't have to watch The Exorcist. You can watch The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's better. But the question, why are all of their gods animal hybrids, is actually a very good question. And although I would like to give my own 2 cents to that, I kind of recently developed, due to a person very dear to me, a great appreciation for explanations given by, what's his name? Jonathan Pageau to such questions. Because Jonathan Pageau has a very, very nice way of handling questions like these of symbolism and religious symbolism and the historic development thereof and all that. Would always recommend watching. Another source or people that I would recommend watching is one of the people who frequently goes on his channel, actually. I just don't exactly remember his first name. Rolling. Jonathan Pageau and what's his name?
Rolling. What keep rolling. That would be my theme song if I were that dude.
Richard Rolling is frequently on Jonathan Pageau's channel and also is on his own channels, which are called The Great Tales, and they give really, really good explanations of religious symbolism and stuff like that. So definitely would recommend checking out Jonathan Pageau, who is also a good friend of Dr. Jordan Peterson, and his friend and often hosted guest, Richard Rolling.
Funny, I've been hearing about this dude for years, and I've still never watched anything by him.
You should watch some of his videos, man. I think you would be interested. It's pretty good. He's very solid.
French Canadian icon carver.
Yeah.
Okay, you lost me at French Canadian. And then icon carver. YouTuber. Okay, that's good. Public speaker. Okay, public speaker on symbolism, religion, and Eastern Orthodox. That's where I'm trying to push them on everybody. Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Editor of the Orthodox Arts Journal, host of the Symbolic World blog and podcast, and founder of Symbolic World Press.
The funny thing is,
50 years old. He's almost as old as me.
The funny thing is, when I heard that he's Eastern Orthodox, I was kind of surprised because I had no idea. So, what is happening? Get out of my face, man.
Whoa! He makes some I'm not an icon guy, but he makes some pretty dope icons, man.
I haven't checked out his icon.
You should make it your goal to get an icon.
Hello, everybody. I'm really excited.
Made by him?
All amounts of poisons and stuff.
He's an icon maker, which means you can probably buy them.
These guys are good.
You're obsessed with icons. You think they give you power or something like that.
They give you superpowers. IRGC has passed for forum with sporting events. Yes. 1up777. David Wood or AP, one of y'all should make a video comparing the Roman Emperor Elagabalus and Muhammad, Islam leftist. The number of parallels are astounding. Just making up names now. But David, you should totally do that. Kit Kat, well, one of us has to do it, so he said should make, so therefore one of us has to do it. Kit Kat, your dog is adorable, AP. Thank you. Did you just get on camera? Did you just get on camera?
Mm-mm.
Terrible. I have to put a shock collar on him like Hassan Piker.
Yeah, zap the crap out of him. What's so funny?
Jurist Dr. Source, King Reza Pahlavi for Iran. Yes. Javid Shah. All right, man. Anything else, David? I want to cut it off here.
You spent 10 seconds talking about the wrestler?
Yes. Wrestler.
Wrestler.
Not wrestler.
It's wrestler.
Anything else?
West Virginia, we wrestle.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
So it appears that I'm going to have a debate one of these days. James is asking me if I would... I was originally supposed to have a debate teaming up with Destiny against Junior and some other guy. And I thought, Junior, no, but teaming up with Destiny against Junior, that's kind of funny. So...
Come on, dude.
But... apparently Destiny has too much to do, and now Nick Matau jumped in, and I'm supposed to team up with him against Junior. Now, I like Nick, but I'm not sure if I really want to go ahead and do a debate with Junior again. It's torture, man. It's torture.
Nick, though, with Nick on your side, you can pretty much take on any two people.
I would just sleep and let Nick do the talking and just jump in if I have to. All right, man. Anything else? So we're going live tomorrow.
You're darn right we are.
All right, let's do it. All right, man. Thanks everybody for watching, and bye. No, thanks everybody for watching. Let me read a few more super chats. Muslim Allah has two hands. Both hands are right hand, has one shin and 2 feet and an eye. We know this is not God. Yes. Jurist Dr. Saw says, Free Iran bans Islamists. UK football ward us. Yes, that's true. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope for better days and all that for everybody included, for everybody in question. My new video is coming out soon. It's going to be either about why women shouldn't convert to Islam, or about Islam, what Islam is, summarized in a beautiful way. So watch out for that. And then I heard Shaky Booty is publishing a song. I saw a preview of it earlier.
I mean, he's one of the greatest sheikhs of all time, but do we even know if he's a good musician?
It looks like it. I mean, it looks like he kind of put on a different voice for this one, but I think he's working on actually singing it himself.
I've been gone for...
And so Shaky Booty's...
I've been gone for a while. It's good to be back. It's been lonesome, all right. Gotta keep it in check. Been riding the deserts, hiding under a hoodie. It's time to step out into the light with Shake Your Booty. As I say, your booty. Come on, say your booty.
He's also a solid dancer. Look at that.
That's totally unexpected, man.
Shake your booty, shake your booty. Come on, say your booty. Habibi, shake your booty. Shake your booty.
It sounds like a solid song. It's a summer hit. And he happens to be a good dancer and also a good singer. So
did not anticipate that at all.
Yeah.
That's like, isn't that crazy? Like, you know, you see someone for years and all of a sudden you find out they can like just imagine like you know, anyone who are watching, like Suppose you're watching that Aussie guy, that Aussie politician from earlier, and then like he turns out to just randomly be a world champion, like ping pong player or something like that. Like he's the greatest ping pong player in the world. You'd be like, what? Dude, had no idea. But that's what that's like.
Yeah. People say this. I don't really see it. That looks like AP.
That's kind of racist because he looks a little Turkish and you look a little Turkish. So basically, they're saying all Turkish people.
You're saying they all look the same.
Yeah, he's saying all guys who kind of look Turkish are exactly the same person. That's just some seriously racist stuff.
You have been banned for this comment. Okay.
Ban him.
All right. Anything else, David? Adamo says the rise of anti-Semitism is directly related to the rejection of the Ten Commandments. Thoughts? David, what are your thoughts finally?
I have no idea what the basis for that would be.
Thank you, Theresa. Theresa says you don't look like him at all, AP. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, facial hair is all different, man.
Shaky Booty is cooler and more based than AP. Yeah, I wouldn't argue with it. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a fantastic day. God bless y'all, and God bless America.
Stay away from Islam.